some of the best advice I got from my dog, Jack Campbell. Like, when you treat, your body more, it's an investment because your body's how you get paid.
I think the biggest thing has just been to go through it, just stay where my feet are, stay in the moment, like enjoy it, because I talked about it on Thursday in a couple of those interviews. Like you only get this chance one time.
Hello, welcome back to Division I Rejects. This is episode 227 of D1R, and while it isn't a conventional, crazy milestone number, tonight is a really special and bittersweet episode of D1 Rejects. The last, I got to imagine, I haven't done the math, maybe 150 plus episodes of this podcast have happened here in the D1R studio. And for those, most of you know, I work as the digital media manager for Northern Michigan Athletics up here in Marquette, Michigan. I've had the privilege of covering a lot of special athletes and work with some teams over the last couple of years. I've taken a new position working down with the Badgers at Wisconsin, and I'm going to be doing some video content, some other content with their athletic programs down there in Madison. What that means is that this is the last episode in the studio, and it definitely is a bittersweet moment. It is a moment that I've taken to look back and reflect on a lot of the stuff that we've done, and it's been truly nothing but special. And first of all, the podcast is not going anywhere. We're trying to figure out how we can take Small School Saturday to new heights this fall, what other content we can make in the meantime, of course, with the traditional shows continuing on, some other fun, exciting plans coming up for you guys in 2026. But this studio has been home to so much, going back to my spring break in college and renovating this space and turning it from an old welding room into where we film all of this content, going to from a totally unfinished space, something that is polished and on camera every week that you guys have tuned into. We've had a lot of great co-hosts, some guests that have joined me inside of here, so many laughs and great experiences inside of these four walls, although a lot of it recently has just been me talking to a camera. It's a lot different. It's a much more enjoyable experience doing this with people here in person, whether that was my co-hosts, my guests that joined me, doing our sponsored athletes, the D1R athletes that we did. There have been a lot of milestones that have come in the duration that we've been in this space, and we are physically just moving. I'm still going to do content. I'm still going to create, but it's going to be in a different space, and it's going to feel different. So this is definitely a turning point in D1 Rejects, and I certainly want to express my very heartfelt gratitude for everyone who tunes in and listens and or watches this show on either a regular or irregular basis, whether this is your first episode or 227th. This is a labor of love, D1 Rejects is, and I'm going to keep doing it as long as I'm able, as long as I'm willing, and breathing. So that is those are the big three. So that should tell you all you need to know about this podcast and this show. But D1R 227, with all that being said, is a very exciting episode. We're kicking this thing off and leaving this studio in this space with a bang. We got Trevor Nowaske, the linebacker from Saginaw Valley, now, really getting a foothold with the Detroit Lions in the NFL. It's his third appearance on D1R. We'd love to have him back on anytime we can. He texted me the other day and said, man, when's the annual checkup? When's the annual pod? Got to get back on there. So excited to have Trevor on, talk candidly about his career and his longevity now in the league as he continues forth into 26 with Detroit. And then we get to Jack Strand, the quarterback out of Minnesota State Moorhead, who has put up some ludicrous numbers in his college career. Over 13,000 passing yards, a guy whose name has really started to generate some serious buzz in this year's draft cycle. There hasn't been a quarterback drafted into the NFL from the Division II ranks since, I believe, 2009. So we're going to see if Jack Strand can maybe break that trend here in 2026. Really exciting conversations with both of them. Otherwise, a lot of the guys are tied up this evening, so Seth, Jimmy, and I have a ton of fun conversation when it comes to D3 football, but that will make up most of this episode. So once again, from myself, from all the guys that represent D1 Rejects, we are so thankful and so supportive for everything that you guys do to watch and support this show. I hope that we take even greater strides in 2026 and really go to fulfill all your guys' wishes and really make good on the promises that we make in terms of covering the sport with integrity, but also joy. I think there's a very fine line and balance there, and I try and tightrope it all the time. And I think there's supposed to be a lot of both. So I certainly have a lot of fun with this. I'm certainly going to keep going. But thank you for tuning in to D1R, and let's get this thing going with the man himself, Trevor Nowaske. Join the show today once again, the former Cardinal at D2 Saginaw Valley State turned Lion with the Detroit Lions, the linebacker himself, Trevor Nowaske. Welcome back, brother.
Well, good to be back, man. What is this? Three now?
Number 3, annual check-in. Let's keep this thing going. You see the graphic. Doesn't say rookie deal anymore. This is all about longevity, dude. What's the Madden rating up to these days?
Dude, you tell me.
I actually don't have Madden. I just outed myself. That's bad.
That's the funny thing is we get it every year. Like we get a code and I just give it to my buddy and
Are you serious?
and he'll update me every once in a while. I mean, dude, it's probably still down there, man. I don't feel like I'm getting those weekly boosts like some of the guys, but who cares?
They have a lot of people campaigning for their numbers to go up too. I feel like they take the socials. We need to start that. We need to start that club.
Yeah, exactly. That's more on me than anything. You're right. I gotta be pounding my hand on the table, you know. Get my rating up.
But man, for a lot of people, the NFL is not for long, right? And you've obviously broken that. Talking about re-signing with Detroit here again. What feels different about this time around? I know I kind of mentioned before we got going. To me, re-signing now at this point in your career is a lot more impressive from an outside perspective than even getting that rookie deal and getting your foot through the door, because you've had to prove yourself over and over and you haven't been in one place the entire time. What feels different about this signing and how grateful are you to be back?
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, I'm super grateful to be back. This is where I want to be. And I feel like now it's definitely not, like you said, you're constantly always trying to prove yourself. But I feel like nowadays, I feel like I've kind of carved out a role. I kind of understand, when I'm on the field, what is my job, what I'm supposed to do. Where, like you said, I feel like those first couple of years, I'm just trying to kind of, get in while you fit in, kind of just running around with my head cut off. Like, listen, what do you need me to do? I'm going to do it. And that's still, listen, I'm still going to do whatever they tell me to do. But at the same time, I know what I bring to the table. It's not more like you said, trying to kind of fit in, figure out things. I understand I belong. I feel like I said that last time, and I truly mean it. And I feel like you said, kind of signing the deal back, kind of, being more valued in a sense when it comes to, my role and whatnot. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited for another year. I'm excited for another opportunity. Like you said, I'm very blessed. I'm very, you always got to put it in perspective. I mean, if you would have told me, listen, when I came on the show 3 years ago, if you would have told me that I'd be in this position, I'd be telling you you're crazy. So super, super thankful for it all and excited to see where I keep going.
Feels like one of the prerequisites for being a Lion now is having a childhood picture of you in a Lions uni. And I should have pulled one. I don't think I have it up immediately, but you go down like whether it's Hutch or like Tisla had all the pub when he came in and the Lions. It feels like a ton of the guys across the roster now. Like is that one of the prerequisites for being a Lion in 26?
I think so, right? We Tyler Conklin. I mean, he's a guy. I think, right? I think they're just going to the backyard. They're seeing what works, and I love that. And we got Whiteside, obviously.
Yep. Yeah, we'll talk about Nick for sure. But you talked about before, I had heard you speak about Jalen Reeves-Maybin and his impact on you, your rookie year specifically, and coming in and trying to learn from a guy who's been there and done that in the league. But you talked a lot about his special teams contributions and how he really made an impact you in that department. What exactly went into those conversations, and how did he and others help you carve out a role there that has been a big part of the reason why you're still here and still playing professional football years later, man?
Yeah, right. I think number one, right? I think you come in and you're trying so hard to impress, right, everyone. And I think at the beginning of my career, I just didn't understand the importance of special teams in general, right? I think you're just like, oh man, I got to ball out on defense. I got to prove the coach whatever. And I see a guy like Germ where I didn't really know who's who come in and listen. One of the first things he told me, he's like, dude, he's like, there might be a guy in front of you that's better on defense. He's like, but if you're an absolute dog on special teams, like if you're just around the ball, if you're, top 3 of the team in tackles, if you're blocking your ass off, things like that, like they'll find a place for you on the team, man. You know what I mean? And I think like that early on just showed me, listen, like if I can excel at this and then continue to get better at defense, I feel like there's a spot for me on this team. There's a role for me in this league. And listen, man, I still talk to Germ to this day. I mean, he's a huge, huge mentor to me. When I first came in, I mean, I also kind of, it was one of those things where he told me that. And then, right, my rookie year, he was all pro, he was pro bowler. And then he signs a nice deal with Detroit. And it was just, okay, so he wasn't lying. Like this, that's the path, to success for kind of an undrafted guy, kind of trying to get his feet settled. And early on in my career and even last year, it's like, listen, man, I know, like I said earlier, I know what I need to go out and do, and definitely kind of the path with special teams last year. And, we're just going to keep riding off that and we'll see where it goes. So.
And you've done it in more ways than one, too. Defensively, you stepped up in a defense that has been ridiculed with injuries across the board at multiple points throughout maybe the last year or two here, right on that side of the ball. But how does running down an ST compared to bringing down Lamar?
So the funny thing is, right, there's that sack. So like probably, right, that was my role in the game, was kind of be the QB spy.
The spy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like first quarter, third down, I come in and, I forget what we run, but I'm spying. And dude, I have never seen somebody cut like straight legged. Like it's so impressive what he does. And obviously that's why he's probably arguably, besides Michael Vick, like the greatest running quarterback of all time. And dude, he hit me with the meanest like fucking cut. And I buckled. And luckily it was kind of like, I did enough where I forget who gets the sack, but we get a sack. And so it kind of got brushed over.
Okay.
So that time I'm like, dude, I'm just not going to move. Like, cut and doing all these things. And I'm like, I'm just going to hope that, listen, he cuts and I just kind of stand there and we just kind of have the standoff. And that's kind of what happened. So, obviously, yeah, I feel like I did a good, like you said, I feel like, when it came to kind of doing my job this year, wherever it was, right? If I'm the QB spy, if I'm, playing on third down at DN, kind of, we talked about that last time I was on, like, listen, however I can get on the field, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do the job to the best of my ability. But yeah, I mean, now that's, I got a game ball that game. That was pretty cool. That was like my first defensive one of my career, which I was super proud of. I've got it in the basement. So, I'll be telling my kids about that one for sure.
As you should, brother. Hey, they say that's the worst, dude, from like a hooper perspective. Like someone who's a non-hooper who doesn't go for any of the moves and just sits there and stares at you while you're trying to cross over and go behind the back and do all this. They just sit and stare and they don't know maybe any better. They say that's the worst type of dude to go against anyways.
Yeah, no, for sure. Right. I'm already behind the 8 ball in terms of athleticism with Lamar. So I might as well just
well, I was gonna say Lamar with maybe a little bit of a milk check, but you look across that linebacker room. I mean, at the time it might have been Anzalone or Campbell. I mean, you could have gone any way with that.
All right, seriously, it's just milk checks all around.
That's awesome, man. I know the Anzalone move was definitely a big one. He goes down to Tampa, a place where he definitely wanted to be at. What kind of presence did he have on the field in that locker room, man? Because from an outside perspective, definitely seemed like he was a big voice in that room.
Oh, 100%, right? And I mean, I think, like you said, it's one of those things that we all knew what he brought to the table. Another big mentor in the room in terms of just how to go about being a pro every day, day to day. And he's got the resume to back it up. For sure going to miss him. Yeah, no, I'm super happy for him. Being closer to home, you know, a good deal. And I think it's kind of a double-edged sword where, like, yeah, it's obviously very disappointing to lose him, but at the same time, I think for a guy like me, I mean, listen, there's a lot of opportunity in that room going into this season. In terms of more and more opportunity to play on defense, things like. So listen, I'm super happy for him. I'm going to miss him. I love playing with him these last 4 years. He's been a huge help to me in terms of growing, in terms of, just approaching things day to day. But yeah, no, I'm also super excited for what it brings for everyone else in that room in terms of there's more opportunity. So
definitely that's the right word to say it. I think he always had that house down there in Tampa too. I don't think he ever got rid of that, is what I read.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where he stays. So
that works.
Listen, when you got kids and stuff, you got a lot of other factors that go into, your career. So happy.
100%, man. What's changed in your approach, taking care of the body here last couple of years? I mean, we go back, signed as a UDFA in 23, fast forward 3 years now, and you're a guy that's, again, maintained your position in this league. How have you gone about taking care of your body and making sure you're ready to go still?
Yeah, no, I think, listen, that's probably the number one thing I feel like I've changed from college to the pros where, like, I know it's non-negotiable in terms of training, nutrition, sleep. I mean, I'm always trying to kind of find an edge in those things, almost to a point of not, I wouldn't say insanity, but I am
Yeah.
very much always trying to try to, I train 4 or 5 days a week, kind of do the same. I stretch every night, things like that. Kind of eat the same, really like three things in terms of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, I mean, to the outside, that is a little strange, but like you said, I think in terms of, I mean, but some of the best advice I got from my dog, Jack Campbell, like when you treat, your body more, I mean, it's an investment because your body's how you get paid. So you can't kind of, when you're looking at maybe, oh, this thing's a little too expensive in terms of food or in terms of, recovery, it's like, listen, you got to see it as, an investment later on when you kind of sign that big deal or, when it's week 16 and you're not feeling as sluggish, you're not as, and I've been, knock on wood, pretty injury free throughout my career so far. So I feel like that's a big attribute to how I handle kind of the off season, how I handle in season. But yeah, no, I feel like I do a pretty routine regimented, I would say.
You stay with the Lions anymore, dude. If you're there any longer, you're going to start getting maybe the J.J. Watt treatment where you had that little nap room in the Texans facility. You ever see that on Hard Knocks?
Dude, I wish, right?
He like went through like some janitor's deal, opens up a door and he's like, I never leave the facility. I get my power nap in before meetings. You're like, this guy rocks.
I know, seriously. Yeah, maybe one day. We'll see.
That's incredible, dude. Saw you were back at Saginaw. Sounded like talking with maybe some high school students.
Yeah. It was I think it was a high school. They were transitioning, either go or deciding if they wanted to go to college or not.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was cool. I hadn't been back in a while. In terms of like on campus, I went to a practice, but really just kind of stayed on the field, didn't really walk around. So it was good to be back.
Sure.
Yeah, met with the football coach.
Coach Engel?
Yep. Yeah. No, and a lot of good things, man. We had a good talk. Met briefly, so we didn't. I told him I'd come up for a spring game or the spring practices, spring game.
Good.
But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future at SAG. I feel like we've been right there, and maybe it just takes kind of a change of scenery for us to kind of push to the next. We gotta beat Grand Valley this year, which was huge. Big win for them.
Hell yeah.
Super happy that Coach Brady got that in his resume. But I'm super excited for the future as well. I'm super excited for what this new coach brings, and we'll see where it goes.
Definitely, man. Some pieces move on, but definitely not a first for Saginaw. You guys have been able to reload over the last couple of years. The guys who have stayed, though, at the Cards through graduation, they've gone on to do some pretty special things. Obviously had Micah on pretty recently, signing up with Winnipeg in the CFL, but then you getting to share this experience now with Nick Whiteside, coming out of two guys that shared that defensive back end of that Saginaw squad defensively. Great example here of two guys that have very different paths to the league and very different paths to where they're at. Neither of them linear, by the way. Like, none of them go exactly how maybe you would have envisioned, but needless to say, you guys end up in a great spot, get to share this experience with him. How rewarding was that, and kind of neat to catch back up with him and share that experience in the same team again?
Dude, I mean, I don't even think we realize how crazy it is.
Yeah.
I feel like, right, like, the odds of you going to the NFL from a smaller school are already slim. And then not only to play with your teammate, I mean, dude, I played right next to him for like 4 years. You know what I mean? Like we go way back. We train at the same spot in the off season. We're constantly staying in touch. Like in our first couple of years when we weren't together. And then to have him, like you said, man, I mean, I would argue his journey is way harder than how I've gotten to where I'm at. I mean, you get out of the league, the odds of you coming back in the league are very slim. We all know that. I mean, the writing's on the wall half the times, and you got to battle your way back. And so those guys who go CFL, UFL, any other league, and find a way to get back into a camp, and not only get back into a camp and then make the team and then get an opportunity to play. I mean, listen, there are so many obstacles that have gone in his way, and he's found a way every single time to kind of, get over that hurdle, get over that roadblock. So I'm super proud of him. I mean, listen, we talk all the time. We both know how fortunate we are to be. Listen, our parents are close. It's super great. I mean, listen, when you're playing for the hometown team and you've got one of your good friends that you played in college with, it's like I said, I think it's one of those things we'll look back and we'll be like, damn, man, I don't think we realized how fortunate we were to have this experience. So it's been super cool, man. It's been a blast.
Yeah, you go in that linebacker room now to talk about that specifically. I mean, you got to be one of the longer tenure guys in that room now, which is kind of maybe ridiculous to say. I don't know where exactly you are on the pecking order, but you got to be near the top of the list, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean the core like 4 guys, right? It's me, Rodrigo, Jack, and D Barnes, right? That are kind of coming back.
Sure.
We've all been there for basically the same amount. D Barnes and Rodrigo I think they got a year on me and Jack. But I mean, listen, we bring a lot of experience. I'm really happy that we're all signed back. Me and Rodrigo, I'm glad we were able to get it done. And yeah, like I said earlier, listen, it's one of those things where we bring a lot of experience, and we also kind of know what the deal is going into training camp. Where I'm excited for the competition. I'm excited we're gonna bring in the best out of everyone. I mean, obviously, like I said, it's going to be a fun year, and we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't say I'm vet status yet.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Everyone kind of has different terms in that, right? Because you get through 3 years and you get like your pension, and then it's like, oh, okay, are you a vet? And then you go in a certain locker room, you might be going into year 4, but you might not. So I wouldn't say that yet. I think maybe
we're fringe vet status,
right? Yeah. I'm not a young. I guess I came into the league old as hell anyway, so I'm not young by any means. But it's been cool for sure.
I get that. Who's the funniest guy in that room?
Dude, Jack, 100%.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Even with the split lip?
Oh, my God. That was...
He is gnarly. I mean, he's obviously fun to watch, but his brand of football is gnarly, dude.
Yeah. And he's old school, right? He's old school, hard-nosed, smash mouth, Jack Campbell. He's the epitome of a middle linebacker. And you know what? That's the Ravens game. And I'd come in on 3rd down or whatever, and I look over, dude, and he's like gushing blood, and he can't even get the call from Shep because he's like, what are you saying? So they went on the sideline and like stitched it up super quick, and he was good to go. But yeah, you saw the pictures. He had that this gnarly. And like the one thing he's upset about is that he had to go get like plastic surgery. I mean that just shows who he is. Like he listen.
That's an identity killer almost. Yeah.
Like he's like he loves it, man. He loves every minute of that stuff, and that's why.
That's awesome.
I love being around him. Yeah.
I love it, man. Well, I appreciate you. Appreciate you a ton. Glad to catch up with you. And, I mean, just from my perspective, fortunate to be able to continue talking with you because that means, man, you still got some really awesome things going. So congratulations on re-signing, man. You got a lot of good things ahead of you. I'm pumped to follow along with you. And, of course, just as a fan, man, this team, right, and watch that competition. Like you said, a lot of opportunity in that room and others moving forward for you guys. So I'm just pumped to follow you and the rest of that group, man, going into 26.
Hell yeah, man. Annual checkup complete.
Yeah.
We go from here. So
thanks, Trev.
Yep, appreciate it.
Join the show tonight. Former Moorhead quarterback turned heads ahead of the NFL draft. Big-time D2 QB had a phenomenal career at this level now, trying to make his mark on the professional scene. It's Jack Strand. What's up, brother?
How you doing?
I'm excited to get you on here, man. We've talked about you, I feel like, on this show ad nauseum, and it was like one of those things where I don't know how we got through this process after the years that you've had and not had you on the program. But first off, just really excited for you to be going through this next couple steps here. And also very pumped that it will no longer be, wherever you end up, it will no longer be against my Cats, because I don't want to see a single ball like that ever again in my life. Man. That was, being able to see you in the Dome up here was awesome. Definitely lived up to what the people had talked about. Talk to me about the opener, man, because it was a slow start for you guys, and then you start throwing some balls like this, turn that thing around. Confidence had to start catching up in stride there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was, it's always a little different just kind of getting in the first game of the year, going from you've been practicing against your own guys, through spring ball and then through fall camp, and finally get out there against another team.
Yep.
And yeah, slow start. We went 3-and-out first drive, second drive, pick six, ended up chasing the guy the wrong way. I was chasing the guy the wrong way. And then third drive, I think we bailed on a 4th down. And then so we went down 21 rip right away. But, we were feeling all right because most of it was just us on offense shooting ourselves in the foot. and kind of missing some throws, missing blocks, that kind of thing. And so we figured, once we get it going, we're going to be all right. And the next drive went down, scored a touchdown, and kind of just from there we
Yeah, you definitely saw
kind of
that
didn't
second
stop.
half composure from you, whether it was on the air or on the ground. But now you're coming off a pro day at NDSU that got you in front of a lot of professional eyes. What was the biggest takeaway from that event, and what do you feel like you have to prove to those guys in order for them to quote unquote take a chance on you, man?
Yeah, the pro day was a lot of fun. It was a great experience
Good.
being able to get in there in front of a bunch of NFL scouts, and very thankful for NDSU giving us the opportunity to come in there, myself, and then Gage Florence, Brady Perriman, our two
Yeah, man.
receivers. We all went in there, tested really well, had a good throwing session, and had talked to some scouts, had a couple meetings with teams and coaches, and I think it was a great day. We put some good stuff on film there for the scouts to see, and for me specifically, the biggest thing was kind of just doing all the running, the jumping and stuff, like showing that I can be explosive. I weighed in 243, I think, which is a pretty good weight for me. It's kind of about where I was. I think it was a little bit later at the American Bowl down in Florida.
Yeah.
But kind of just showing that I could still be explosive and be an athlete at that weight was a big thing for me. And I think I was able to do that.
100%, man. Is that something that has come up with some of these staffs that you talk to in terms of where you come in? Because, I mean, you're a mountain of man right now, and that is in the best way possible. You talk about it, almost going on 6'4", almost 240 pounds. That is going to get you in the door, I think, for a lot of people when you start these conversations. Do you feel like you've had to prove that at that weight you can be mobile, you can be explosive, and have there been any maybe concerns or ideas from those staffs about what your ideal playing weight looks like?
I don't think there's really been a lot of concerns. I think it's just been more, I
Good.
want to be, the heaviest weight that I can be, that I can still be an athlete at, because, when you're heavier, you can take hits. It's harder
Yeah.
to bring down, for one. Like, kind of seen that going through my career as I gain more weight. You kind of can protect yourself a little bit more, just having, more meat on you, whether it's muscle or fat. Hopefully it's more muscle than fat. But,
Oh, yeah.
I've had some teams kind of ask me, what's the heaviest weight, what's the lightest weight that you could see yourself playing at, and like how easy would it be to get, like, for me, say, to get down to 230 if I needed to, or get up to 250 if for whatever reason I would have to. And so those have been more of the conversations that I've had, rather than what is, are they worried about me
Sure. No,
being too
absolutely. And I
heavy,
think
for
that actually gets
example.
lost a lot of the time, right? Where you think guys get out of college and that's exactly how they are. They're still doing a lot of molding at the professional level, wherever you end up. And you see a lot of it in the trenches with guys fluctuating with their weight. But at the quarterback position, you can definitely see that as well. And that's got to be how you market yourself. You can be a lot more durable than some of these guys who are going to scramble and run back and forth across from sideline to sideline. You can sit there and be able to take a couple hits in that pocket. But you talked about not being the only dragon at NDSU. Top targets, Gage and Brady, also taking part. How rewarding was it to go through that experience and share that together with guys that have been really integral parts of your playing career and a lot of success over there at Moorhead?
Yeah, that was awesome to have the chance to go out there one more time with those guys and compete. And just, it's something that we've talked about for a long time, is having the chance to play at the next level. And kind of going through our careers and seeing that dream kind of become more of a reality. And
Yeah,
this was just the next step in it. But to be able to do it with those guys, and then have some of the other guys too from the team, like we had Kelly Johnson, Kellen Lucas, Chandler Christensen, new transfer receiver. We had Gavin Lill in there catching some balls, and then we had my boy Grant Workentine in there snapping for me, and then
that's
had
awesome.
Coach Check, Coach Selzer in there helping us, get through the script and everything. So it was awesome to have those guys in there and be able to go through it with them too. And then we had a good group of dragons in there cheering us on when we were doing our run and doing our routes and stuff. So, to be able to kind of get to this next stage of our careers, but still have the people that, we went through college, went through all that whole process and made all those memories with, it's really been cool.
That's pretty special, dude. It was a team effort there. I didn't realize. Obviously, knew about the receivers, and you had a couple pictures afterwards of some of the people that had come out to support. But that's pretty special stuff. Coach Check, he feels like probably your biggest advocate for going to play at the next level. Whether it's using his platform to try and get you in front of more eyeballs, getting that all 22 film posted, and trying to make that stuff accessible. Because at this level, it's not like a lot of the scouts at the next level can just pull up whatever platform or service they're using and find all of this Division II football film. What has your experience been like under him? And I know you had spoken a little bit about him developing you as a player and a man through your time there, but what has playing under Coach Check been like, and what kind of influence has he had on you?
Yeah, I mean, having Coach Check as my QB coach has been, I know I wouldn't be at the spot I am without him. And we kind of we kind of came in together. Like he was playing, his final year playing was in 2021, which was the year before I got in there, and then he started
Okay.
coaching right away. And so his first season coaching was my freshman year. So he's kind of grown as a coach, and I've kind of grown as a player, at in the same time frame, which has been really cool to
That's
see.
awesome.
And it's been awesome to see where he came from. Like he's from a town 20 minutes away from me in Wisconsin. So like didn't really grow up to like next to each other because he's a few years older than me, but like we're from the same area, so we kind of like we know the area. We've met up here a few times too. Like we met up here once before I got over to Moorhead my freshman year, but then just going through my career, like he's been a guy that kind of I've been able to go to with anything, whether it's on the field stuff or off the field stuff. Like if I've had problems with stuff off the field, he's one of the first people that I'll go to and talk to, and he's always willing to do that. And I think that's part of what just makes the program so special, is because we got a lot of guys that are like that. They're willing to be there for you, whether it's something that you got on the field or something off the field.
Yeah.
But Coach Jack's for sure one of those guys, one of the first people I go to, and he's kind of been like just taught me football the last couple of years too. Like when I was a freshman, I didn't always know what I was doing, like learning the offense and stuff,
Sure.
and then looking at defenses, I wasn't super confident always when I was doing it. So especially like between my freshman and sophomore year, we had a lot of conversations about that. He gave me some stuff, like just projects to do with watching film that helped me, watching through other quarterbacks, other games in our conference, just to learn how those defenses played, and then watching some NFL film too and seeing what those guys do. And then we'd kind of just have discussions about it, and that's just one of the biggest ways that I've been able to learn football is through him. And then just having conversations throughout the week, game week, stuff that I like, stuff that he likes, after games, watching film together.
Every part of the process.
He's been there for me through every part of it. And so, but like I said, I wouldn't be in the spot that I am now without him, and I'm very grateful for everything that he's done.
I don't know him personally. I'm sure he'd be the first one to spit all that right back at you. And the fact that you guys get to start your respective journeys, whether it was professional career coaching for him, your collegiate playing career, and get to grow side by side and do so in a very quick fashion and do so in a good, really strong fashion with each other throughout that process is special stuff, man. I'm sure he's really pumped about that. I want to go back to the American Bowl, though. You had mentioned it a little bit, because it feels like guys at this level, you have to, once your season's over, of course, you're going to hopefully be on a little bit on the radar of some of these guys. For you, of course you are, because of the career and the numbers and the size, some of the measurables. That's going to get you through the door. But you got to go and earn every single one of these opportunities. And for you, the American Bowl feels like a little bit of a launching platform to go on and try and start collecting a little bit of notice from the higher ups. How do you describe that experience, and how have you continued to earn opportunities? Because again, none of those have been given to you. You get one, and if you earn it, you move on to the next one. And as long as you keep performing, feels like you've done that. How have you been able to continue to do that, man?
For sure, yeah. Going to the American Bowl was an awesome experience. I knew that was going to be something that was huge for me. Just coming from a smaller school, one had been in front of as many people. Just it's not as D2 just doesn't get promoted as much as the bigger levels. But then also like playing at D2, there's just some questions about like the level of competition and that kind of thing. And just because D2 players not playing against Power 4 guys, like guys with LSU, Clemson on their helmets. And so going down to the American Bowl, playing against guys from those Power 4 schools and kind of showing that I can compete with them, and kind of just putting that out there on film, through the practices and then through the games. I think that was definitely a big thing for me, just to get that out there and show people that I'm able to compete with those guys. But then, yeah, kind of just as I've gone through the process, that was kind of the first big thing after the season, and then obviously the pro day a couple days ago. And I think the biggest thing has just been to go through it, just stare where my feet are, stay in the moment, like enjoy it, because I talked about it on Thursday in a couple of those interviews. Like you only get this chance one time to go through the pre-draft process, and so that was my kind of whole mentality going through training and stuff out in New Jersey, doing all the pro day prep and all the throwing prep and everything, and then at the American Bowl, at the pro day itself, and now kind of in this next month leading up to the draft is just kind of stay in the moment and enjoy the journey.
Yeah, you're doing a good job of it, at least from the outside looking in, man. It's got to be a fun process, albeit probably a stressful one, and with a lot up in the air and out of your control. But I changed the graphic there. It's got to feel pretty special, and of course, it won't mean anything until, of course, your name gets called or you sign that free agent contract, whatever it is, and earn that next opportunity. all that being said, man, it's got to feel pretty damn cool to be talked about as one of the top 10 quarterbacks in this NFL draft class. Does that feel real? And are people starting to finally notice what you have to offer when it comes to the pro football?
I mean, looking at, kind of outside noise, the media noise and everything, like you said, that's all kind of just out of my control. Like
Yes,
I can only control what I can control with what I put out there, at the American Bowl, at the Pro Day, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, kind of just seeing, myself get some attention, but then indirectly through that, my other guys, Brady and Gage, they're getting attention.
Yeah.
And then the school in general, MSU, the Dragons as a whole, seeing the football program get more kind of national notice. That's been really cool too, because just through and everything that all the stuff that gets posted about me, it all has to do with the Dragons, and so they're getting nationwide attention too, which is awesome. And that's something that, like, Coach Lockway, our head coach, he always talked about elevating the level of the program. And so looking back a couple years ago, to where the program was, we were 4-7 my freshman year, and then as we went through 2022 through the 2025 season, I think every year we as a whole were able to elevate the level of the program. And now looking at where it is now, it's cool to see how much of a jump has been made. And I know they're gonna keep doing that in the future.
What is the outlook for Moorhead in 26, man? Obviously some big offensive pieces moving on, but like you said, upward trajectory is probably the most important metric of them all.
For sure, yeah, and it's going to be a younger team now because we had 20 plus seniors graduate. So we had I think the biggest senior class that Coach Lockway's had in his time. They're definitely one of the biggest. So they're going to be a younger team, but there's still going to be a lot of guys on the team that have played meaningful snaps. They played some good ball, and we got a couple guys that redshirted in my class that are coming back, and got some new transfers in too. So I think there's some positions for sure that are still up in the air. They got to figure out who the starters are. Definitely on offense, like they got a couple quarterbacks I know in that room that are going to have a shot to compete during spring ball, during fall camp. And, I'll hopefully be there for some of the spring practices, get to help out and be in the room with Coach Check and those guys, and Jersey Selzler. He's a quarterback there, 2022, my freshman year, and then transferred to Concordia at Moorhead. But he's one of my best friends too. And so, and now he's coaching quarterbacks back at MSUM. So going to have a chance to be in the room with him again, which is going to be a lot of fun too.
That's pretty special stuff, dude. Very cool. Now, in terms of what's next for you, hopefully going to have the chance to meet with some of those teams leading up through that process. What is your, I don't want to say pitch in terms of a salesman, but you got to sell yourself to these teams, right? What is that pitch, and what are the reasons that those teams should pick you up, put you on their roster, man?
For sure. I think the biggest thing is just, the volume of snaps, the volume of playing time that I've had, and how many, dropbacks that I have, because our offense, it was different than most of these schools. Like a lot of these schools, these quarterbacks are getting all their pass attempts through RPOs and stuff. If they're throwing bubbles, they're throwing one-on-one fades, if they get the opportunity. And pretty much everything that we were doing at MSUM was drop back pass, whether it was quick game or, picking a side based on pre-snap, post-snap leverage, that kind of thing. And so which is, what's done in the NFL. Like there's not a whole ton of RPO bubbles and stuff thrown. Like a lot of it is drop back pass. You got to, go to the correct side based on your pre-snap looks. And so I think I have a lot of experience doing that, which, even though it was at the D2 level, it's still running NFL concepts. And
yes.
So I think that'll be a big thing that's a selling point for me for sure.
I like that, man. That is I think a really important piece that, to be honest with you, should be at the forefront of it. I think you make a great point, is that a lot of these college guys, and while you see the NFL, of course, pick up aspects of the college game, the NFL game, and you talk about someone in an NFL system for a quarterback, of course, it's talking about the D1 guys all the time, but how do you emulate that process at the Division II level is always going to be a big thing for them. What else is next for you in this process? What does the next month or so look like in terms of prep and what you can control?
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm done with the pro day and everything, I can kind of just go back to training for normal football now. Like I'm training for a season, which I'm kind of looking forward to that, because training for like the L drill and the 5-10-5 and the 40 starts and all that. I think I've done enough 40 starts
good
for the rest of my life. So being able to just train for football, and for me personally, like train to play quarterback, like my body to get ready to go in, like I got to treat it like I'm going into a season. And so I'm hoping we can get Coach Herc, our strength coach, back at MSU. Hopefully, I'm sure he'll get us on a program and start getting us right to actually play football again. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, yeah, kind of just as meetings and stuff with teams come up, taking those, and hopefully doing some visits, doing some private workouts. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
I love it, man. think that's all I got for you. Gotta be pretty rewarding to be around that group who you talked about. You love that the fact that MSUM gets a lot of that national pub and it filters through, whether it's your name, because you are so closely associated with the program. They've become big advocates and have been staunch advocates of yours. But now you get to go back through this process now and hopefully make it to the next level. You get to do it with the people that have helped you get to that point. I guess it's a long way of saying you're not changing anything up. But let's stick with the guys who got me here. Let's stick with the people and the support system that has gotten me to this point. Why would you switch it up now when you're trying to make that next jump, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's my thought process going through it all. And I'm very grateful to be able to go through it with those guys and to see them be able to go through it too.
Very cool, man. I appreciate you very much. We'll be following along and excited to root you on wherever you end up, brother.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
In Division III football, fellas, before we get into our topics today, at least a little bit of a shout out. Tyren Montgomery's got his pro day at Toledo today, the wide receiver out of John Carroll that has generated a lot of buzz and a lot of noise out of the D3 level. Probably one of the guys in the upper part of the D3 ranks that has a legit shot of potentially, I don't think it's crazy to say, getting his name called in this draft this year. I don't think he would be a complete shock to people in a late round. If nothing else, certainly going to be a priority UDFA. But pro day today probably already happened at Toledo. Haven't seen any posted results yet. But by the time this is live, I would imagine we probably have some numbers and some tangibles on the old boy over there.
I think it's going to be better in the D3, D2 world of guys getting drafted this year than especially last year with there being none.
I hope so, man. I say it can't go any worse.
Right. Just because of the pub that we've seen, like I think Tyron's I think he's gonna get a shot. I really do. I know this isn't D3 or D2 part of the show, but like Jack Strand, like I really believe that he's gonna have a shot. I think Tyron's gonna get an undrafted signing, I believe. But man, for the livelihood of D3 football, I want someone to get drafted so freaking bad.
Agreed, dude. Agreed. It has not happened in a while. Need to absolutely change that. And while it isn't the NFL, we got a guy from the WIAC going on to play professional football at a different level. That is with the Green Bay Blizzard. Jack Studer from UW-Lacrosse, a guy that, Jimmy, you and I had the chance to see in person when we went down there and they played North Central back in what would have been, the 2023 season down there at Lacrosse when Coach Giannis was still with the company down there with the Eagles. And this is a guy who was an absolute menace on the outside for that Lacrosse attack, paired up with, at the time, Kaiser Helterbrand, other guys, of course, Weir, some of those quarterbacks that came through and had a lot of success. He took the top off a lot of different defenses in that conference. 175 catches, almost 3,200 yards, 35 touchdowns in his career. He was a Gagliardi semifinalist, participated in rookie minicamp with the Packers before now, ultimately, of course, that NFL opportunity did not pan out. Here he is in the IFL with the Blizzard. What do we need to know about this?
I mean, Studer's an absolute menace. I mean, he's a really, really tough matchup. You know, you can throw it deep to him, you can throw it to him over the middle, you can get it to him in the quick game. I think this guy's going to make a huge impact on this Green Bay Blizzard roster, the entire organization. I mean, he's a certified playmaker, and I probably saw him in person like 3 or 4 different times as his opponent, and then obviously at Lacrosse for the North Central game. But man, this kid's an absolute baller. I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, I mean, he's coached against him once, obviously not on the defensive side of the ball, but saw him play plenty of times. Like he's the guy that your number one corner is traveling with him most of the time. And I don't know, the Barnstormers are down here in Iowa, and I've gone to a few games, and those fans, man, they get rowdy and it's fun. It's a good time. And I'm excited to see the highlight of Studer going up and like jumping over the wall and getting smoked out of bounds, but not too familiar with basically anybody on the Green Bay Blizzard team other than the guy himself, Max Mailer. He was the 2025 IFL MVP with the Blizzard. If you are unfamiliar, he led the Warhawks to the 2019 national championship game, falling short to North Central, I believe, that year. But man, what an opportunity for a couple WIAC guys, a couple Gagliardi finalists to go there and hopefully ball out over there. Hopefully they don't beat the Barnstormers down here, but I'll be rooting for them nonetheless.
Yeah, no, Mailer, he was He did it all. I mean, he literally did it all for this team. 3,000 passing yards, 67 touchdown passes last year. He's in his 4th season in the IFL. He just signed with the Arizona Rattlers. So you go win the MVP of the league. You go to the championship of this league, and you say, hey, I'm out of here. I'm going down to Arizona, joining up with the Rattlers. He's was on that UW Whitewater team, like you said, that went to the national championship, and he has carved out a nice little spot for himself inside of this league. Not the only other WIAC guy he's teaming up with, though. You look at 2 other WIAC receivers in the squad already, Terrell Carey from Oshkosh and Isaac Garside from Eau Claire. So you got 3 receivers and then the former QB, all from WIAC squads. And, of course, I mean, it's in Green Bay. I don't know. Did you guys notice these uniforms that they're wearing? I might have to pull up a separate photo, but it's like, I mean, is that a spotted cow uniform?
That's so Wisconsin.
Do you see
That
this?
is awesome.
So
It is.
Wisconsin.
It might be like digi camo, like, to be honest, but
Spotted cow.
don't get me wrong. That
Spotted
looks
cow.
like it, doesn't it?
That would not surprise me at all. Oh, also, just a little tidbit for you guys. Isaac Garsted also went to Stout for a year or 2. Just want to let you guys
Okay.
know that. Yeah.
Very cool.
I bet
He's
he's
a
not
Blue
proud of
Devil
that,
and
but
a
that's
Blue
okay.
Gold. A little bit of both.
Yeah.
But Hunter McKinney also signed with the Arizona Rattlers, I believe, back in early February. UW River Falls alum.
Shout out.
So I love to see, these guys getting opportunities. Obviously, it's not the NFL. Obviously, it's not, that level of football. But man, nonetheless, like it's professional football. Like it's professional football, and these guys are getting paid to do it. So it's fun to see.
The season tickets were called the 9th man season tickets because of 8 being on the field, which is just a fun kind of quirky thing. And you mentioned earlier the walls of the arena football, like the big padded walls. When you have collisions with another like professional athlete going into, whether it's a padded surface or not, but going into the wall, some of those hits are stupid. And then you have the opportunity to go up and catch a touchdown pass and go up and over the walls or getting checked over the glass in a hockey game. It makes for pretty sweet moments, I think.
Have you guys been to a game? Have you guys been to a game?
I have watched little portions of some IFL football, but I have not been in person.
Oh my, it's like legit. I mean, it's pretty wild what these guys do.
Yeah.
I'm not lying. You could be on your own end zone and throw, honestly, not a very hard pass and get it to the opposite end zone. And so it's just like rapid fire.
Well, the special teams game is crazy too.
You can kick a field goal at any point. You can't. I mean, the motions, everybody forward motion. So like guys are running into the play basically every single time. It's Dylan Brown. Also, the Jacksonville Sharks,
I believe.
Sharks, right? He signed with them as well. So I mean, I have to go to a couple more IFL games down here if I know some of the boys are going to be out down here.
I like that. Let's go down south a little bit. Talk about this Hardin-Simmons squad. The Cowboys. 3 consecutive ASC championships. Pretty big time for this Cowboy squad down there at Hardin-Simmons. And this was a conference and a league that had been dominated by Mary Hardin-Baylor for a long time. Hardin-Simmons, they uprooted that the last couple of years. This is a team that split with the Crew last year, made a little bit of not the best playoff run in their history, but they've done a lot of winning down there in Texas, and now they've got the rings to show for it. This is a look at the 2025 ASC Championship ring for the Cowboys. They've got the 3 trophies with that cowboy going in front of it, obviously to represent their consecutive titles there in conference play, and then you go forward, look at the side, the 3-peat on the side with the cowboy hat and that little football deal. And just taking the photos in like the purple velvet is also a really cool, sick touch.
Here's what I'll say. They're awesome, but winning a national championship is pretty sweet too. So
I knew this was coming, bro.
Hey, Seth, did they give you a ring? Are they going to give you one?
Not yet. I'm looking forward to it. Well, also the head coach is no longer there, so like it's gonna be a little harder for me to get one. But it's gonna. I'll tell you what. It's gonna go right here if I get one. It's gonna go right here. You can't see it on the screen right now. It's gonna go. Oh, it's gonna go right here. It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna have a dedicated light.
Yes, it is. I got my Isthmus Bowl ring right here.
There you go.
But national championship ring, much cooler. However, shout out Hardin-Simmons. This is very cool nonetheless. Especially with I love that they got the little details on it. Like, hey, this is what this means. This is what this means.
Yeah,
like,
always big fan of that.
The artistic piece of that, but I I mean, I just think a national championship ring probably a little cooler, but nonetheless, pumped for these guys.
So I mentioned 3 consecutive conference championship rings. Got to shout out my guy, Galen Glynn. He's on staff for the Cowboys. He was the starting quarterback in 2023 that led them to their first of that 3 of the conference championships. And dude balled out down there. Now he's on staff. He threw for almost 4,400 yards in his career. Last year, director of ops and recruiting coordinator. This year, taking on the running back coach responsibilities. So they've got some like pretty homegrown talent. I think he's actually from Waco, if I remember correctly. But they've got some guys on staff that are former players on the roster and have been a part of this turnaround for the Cowboys and been really integral parts of that. So really cool to see that and see those guys continue to roll. Now, they have reportedly been having some pretty big problems finding D3 opponents for 2026 schedule, right? I know we took a look together at the UW lacrosse schedule, or at least I know we talked about it. I don't know if we necessarily took a look at it together. Hardin-Simmons, definitely a notable piece of that schedule. They will travel all the way up to Wisconsin. Take a look here, fellas. On September 12th, it's a little bit cut off, and take a look right there. On September 12th, they'll make the trip up to Wisconsin. That's a look at the lacrosse schedule for 2026, which is one of the best and toughest schedules in all the country. That's a hell of a road trip for this Cowboys team early in the season. We're not sure exactly what the rest of this looks like with an ASC conference that is continuing to get, exceedingly small over the course of the near future, right?
Yeah, no, it's the same. They have the same problem that all the WIAC teams have. They have the same problem Mary Hardin-Baylor has. Like, it's like a patch job every year, just trying to like make sure that you're eligible to like maximize your possibility of getting into the playoffs. Should you lose a conference game or two, definitely not 2, but lose a conference game essentially, and so. This is it's definitely it's a bigger problem, and I honestly feel like the NCAA at the Division III level, like at the administrative level, needs to like assist with this a little bit more. I don't know how they do it at the D1 level, like especially the FBS level, but I assume like most of the time it's the coaches that are basically doing all of this work trying to get games. And,
correct.
Like I just think there needs to be a little bit more like standardization of getting games, because there's no reason teams should be like lacrosse should be playing 9 games. There's no reason that a team should have to go play a D2 team. Now, am I a big fan of lacrosse playing Hardin-Simmons? Yeah. As a football, like a D3 football guy, I love it. I'm all about it. And I love seeing like these teams like Johns Hopkins is going to go play Trinity in 2027. I think that's a home and home. Like you see Mary Hardin-Baylor come up to play River Falls and Whitewater over the years. But I just feel like this is continuing to be an issue, especially for the better teams. And like teams are paying a bag to do it too. Like they're paying like $40,000 to get them to come up. And so like, that's great. You're probably breaking even on a trip like that. But I just think like the NCAA or somebody needs to get involved so that you're not like cutting guys short opportunities or like you're forcing things to happen. So it's a challenge for sure.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's tough. There's not like an easy, clear-cut solution because you got a lot of teams that have no business playing a Hardin-Simmons or Mary Hardin-Baylor or UW, name it. And yet those are the only options. It's the same reason why Hardin-Simmons and Mary Hardin-Baylor played twice last year, right? Like you run into that, and that's fun again as a D3 football fan. But does it diminish that matchup maybe the first time? Maybe a little bit, because they did end up splitting that matchup, and how that is weighed differently over the course of the season is an interesting thing. But let's go down to the University of the South over in Sewanee. Joe Freitag named the head coach down there for this squad that is going through we'll say, in not only an athletic rebrand in terms of like logos, visuals, those kind of things, but I think a total change in identity down at one of the most historic and prestigious universities in the South and in that region. He's taken over for a team that, I'll be very honest with you guys, has struggled really, really bad. This is a team that went 8-22 the last 3 seasons. You talk about Trinity, Barry, Maryville, even schools like Center dominated this league. Sewanee has not been at the focal point of the conversation. Coach Freitag is one that certainly is looking to change that narrative. He has been at Monmouth for, I believe, more than a decade and calling the shots over there offensively at the D3 level. He's got some other notable stops at Coe College, Augsburg, Benedictine. He also played O-line at Monmouth, so coaching at his alma mater there. This is the face of the guy leading the Tigers here for the foreseeable future. And like I said, this is a tough gig. Not only because they've stunk in the past. This is a school that has really high academic standards. It's something that I definitely found very early on when checking into the nature of this program as someone on the outside who is not very familiar with the Tigers and with Sewanee. But also, your campus is basically on a mountain in rural Tennessee. This is not something where kids just stop by on a recruiting visit. You got to go out of your way to get to Sewanee, and it definitely has a certain flavor and certain appeal. It's a little older. It's rustic. Like I said, this is a university that's been around forever, and it takes a certain guy to be a part of that and also live up to the academic expectations of this thing, guys.
I'll tell you what. It's just a picture, but he looks like a football guy. I'll tell you that right now. He looks like a football coach. Like he fits out the image of a football coach, and I think that says something about a guy. I tell you.
Hey, it definitely doesn't hurt.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Well, and I think the hard part is for a job like this is like you're gonna have to lean in to a lot of those things. Like you're gonna have to be like, man, we love it down here. Like this is rural Tennessee. Like this is where hard work gets done. Like this is like I don't know. Like it's not the Rust Belt, but like it's like this is where football is meant to be played. And so like that's probably like if you're gonna have any shot at competing not only in the league but at a national level. Like you're going to have to do some serious overhaul with basically everything. Like we talk about when teams like hire from within, they want to keep a culture going. Like you see at lacrosse or falls, whatever the case is. But like this is a total, like with the rebrand, new logos, like you want to overhaul everything. And there's a reason for that. And you're going to have to lean into a lot of those things that make you quirky. And like you said, like the high academic standards, like that's not an easy thing either because you're not only are you recruiting at a national level because it's a high academic and because it's basically in the middle of nowhere. Like you're gonna have to do some serious work hopping on planes and hopping on some pretty long drives to get to some decent players. So good luck to Coach, but yeah, he's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, I didn't check where the nearest airport was. I have to imagine it's not a rock's throw away from campus. But we talked about, I think, a little bit about some of like the NESCAC schools and what they have to deal with. There's some of those little Ivy type teams up in the Northeast region, but what they have is proximity to a lot. They have proximity to a lot of, whether that's cities or just hubs for people because of the populated part of the country that is. Now, Seth, part of the rebrand for this school and this program comes at a point in which you have to discuss the departure of their previous head coach. And trying to find some information on this, a little bit difficult, but from what I can gather, Andy McCullum, who was the previous head coach at Sewanee, talked about the record, 8-22 in the last 3 seasons. His firing had more to do than just a losing record. And I think what leads me to say that is that he was fired with still a game to go in the 2025 season. So they fired their coach, and the regular season was still not completed yet, and they had to part ways, we'll say, with Coach McCullum. A lot of things on the internet about why the university has not revealed a technical reason for releasing him, other than the fact, of course, that he just wasn't doing a very good job. The program was just struggling, and that, to be honest, could be more than enough reason. But reportedly, Coach McCullum was escorted off campus by police after refusing to willingly leave campus upon receiving notice of his termination. And so there were people that allegedly witnessed him being escorted off campus by members of law enforcement. And whenever that's seen, tough look for a program. So what happens in the wake of that is a lot of kids who hit the portal, a lot of kids who, again, allegedly just drop out and are done with football and just quit the sport altogether. Not drop out in the sense of school. I think a lot of them were just done with the football program and went back to being, as some would say, NARPs or more regular college students. But this is something that the university definitely didn't get in front of it, and that could let rumor mill and things spiral, and that's something up here that Northern that I think we've gone through semi-recently when there wasn't a lot of information publicly available about the departure of a prominent figure on campus being the head coach. I haven't heard enough about this, to be honest with you. I haven't heard a whole lot about it. I think they've been doing a good job of keeping it quiet. Maybe it's just not that serious, and what I've seen is an overreaction, but what we know is Coach McCullum is out, Coach Freitag is in, and Tigers move forward.
Well, I don't know, I don't know anything about like the situation. Nobody really does. And that's what I love about this show is we are trying to get to the bottom of it. And like, if it's a Michigan, if it's Ohio State, if it's in Alabama, everybody
you'd
and their
heard.
mom knows. Everybody knows about it, right?
Yeah.
And so, as a part of the D3 small school media, like we want to make sure all the good and the bad is getting reported on, because like a lot of times this stuff gets more swept under the rug than if you're a big time football coach. So who knows what it was, but that's the point of this show, not only to entertain, but also to get to the bottom of it a little bit.
Yeah, I might have to
journalism.
extend the research maybe a little bit further after this. And I think something that's worth noting, at least my experience in small college athletics and having some experience with whether it was coaches and some of the information that was withheld or not necessarily made public immediately, is that the relationships with your local media at the small school level can be really good and really bad in different ways. In that, for a market like Marquette, Michigan, where Northern Michigan University is, this town runs on the college. The news stations here, we have an oversaturated news market with like 4 different stations here. They cover a lot of Northern Michigan athletics. And so what that means is they are in close proximity and very, very close, like almost personal proximity to all the staff at Northern Michigan, because they're constantly at events, they're the only people at our press conferences. They have very easy access to our coaches. So a lot of them have good personal relationships. Now, with that, I have seen, in the small market of news, are some favors. And sometimes people who have been in positions, in maybe media positions, don't necessarily feel obligated to go out of their way and try and report some of the bad that they see. And this is by no means saying this is what happened down at Sewanee. I've got no freaking clue. But that's just an observation that I've made. In terms of the small market media, sometimes the bad is not, it doesn't lead like it does at the big stations, right? It's a very different dynamic, and I think that really is a part of the reason why when you have those personal relationships with a lot of these people, that, not to say it's good or bad, but that is sometimes the reason why this stuff never gets made public, because it could be a favor for someone, or they know X, Y, or Z, and this is just something that they refuse to let get out.
Also, there's not as much money involved.
Correct.
Like, his buyout probably wasn't $50 million. Like, again, Sharon Moore type. We have no idea what the situation is, but like you got to think at least for a second, if you're going to fire a guy like that, do we want to fire him because we got to pay him $100 million? I'm sure nobody cares at that level. Like, all right.
The crazy thing is, if you wait a week and fire him after the last game of the regular season, no one has any questions.
No one's going to.
So something prompted it, like right there, right then, he's got to go.
Right. Right.
That's what,
especially the escorted by police thing. Like, you don't get escorted by police. Like, it just doesn't happen at our level.
No.
Like, if you aren't, like, you did something, like, this is the whole thing. So, I hope something comes out, because, like, guess what? Like, we want to keep growing this thing. Like, we want to keep growing the game. Like, everybody's got to get held accountable. Like, we want to talk about the good stories and all the feel good stuff, but, like, hey man, like, better get held accountable at our level too. So.
I go back to Coach Durrell of Central Oklahoma, who the body cam footage got released of him. He had a couple pops before getting in the car that day and got stopped and he held accountable for that. And that was released and put just about everywhere. Now, a little bit of a higher profile gig in one of the best conferences in the country at the Division II level, a little bit more money involved, all those things kind of stacking up. And of course, the body cam footage, that stuff is typically made, whether it's through subpoena or whatever, to pull forth that information. But it's not unheard of at this level to have some crazy stuff like that go down. We'll move on, though, to a little bit more positive things here. Let's go to the team that is making the relaunch of their football program in 2026. Azusa Pacific, boys, we talked about them a little bit when they announced originally that they were going to be bringing back their program, the former D2 football program out there in California that closed down 5 or 6 years ago, kind of citing the fact that there was just a decline in college football out there, especially when it comes to Division II, right? You look at the Division II football scene on the West Coast right now is bad. It's in a very sore state. You have Central Washington, Western Oregon up there in the Pacific Northwest. Man, outside of that, you've got almost nothing. There used to be a conference out there of some decent D2 football. It is really folded in on itself. Azusa Pacific being a part of that. They're coming back. It's not as Division II. It's as D3. I think a lot of the reason of that, of course, being funding, the ability to compete right away, and of course, less travel. They're going to join the SCIAC, a conference out there that has some pretty solid football. The big part, though, fellas, $1 million, $1 million to relaunch this program from an anonymous donor. They've got this thing rolling, and the quote is that it will fully fund the program's initial startup cost and first year of operations. That is sick.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I thought of, obviously, was Goldmember, the Dr. Evil. $1 million.
Yes.
Like, that was a good one, Kobe. I got a good chuckle out of that. But, that's quite a hefty investment to make. I really want to see these guys succeed. Hey, let's roll the dice. Give these guys a bunch of money and see what they can do with it. I love it.
I'm not gonna lie, fully fund the program. Yeah, no kidding. Like that's kind of more.
Yeah, they said for the first year, I'm like, man, that might even go. I don't know.
We're gonna do more than just give the kids some peanut butter sandwiches. Like we're gonna get everybody the best helmet on the market, whatever that is. Like we'll let somebody else decide who that is. But like we gotta some serious cash to run away with. Now, new season 2026, correct? Like this is their first, like 2026 is first season. Like, first of all, I want to know like who they're playing. So if we got $1 million to play with, like, hey, they need a game out here in Wisconsin. Let's go rock this thing. Let's go play some real big boy ball. But the head man, I'll tell you that. Like, I'm pumped about this guy, Kobe. I'll let you talk a little bit about him, but I'm excited for this dude, man. Like, he is a fantastic football coach, and he's a great leader.
We'll get to him in a second. You brought up the schedule, though. Let's take a look at the schedule for this Azusa Pacific team here in 2026. They'll open up the season. You see all of these games, Seth, in California. And so that was something that, of course, a lot of this announced prior to this $1 million gift that would have maybe enabled a little bit more travel. But you look there, I mean, this is conference play with some other deal mixed in. You play Whittier twice, which is in a kind of very similar situation. You've got Laverne also twice on the schedule. So they're going to double up with some of these opponents. That's a look at their schedule in 2026. This is their stadium right now, which,
wow.
the backdrop is phenomenal. The backdrop is absolutely awesome. The field itself and the setup probably could use some work. Nice thing we got some money coming into this program. Hope that we start to get a little bit of upward trajectory and some motion over there in Cali to get this thing rolling. I'm sure everything is a little bit more expensive over there, probably a lot more expensive. But that's currently the Cougar Stadium, I believe, is the apt name of that, and that is presumably where they will play football, according to at least what I could find online. So that's a quick look at some of the surrounding details. But Seth, you mentioned it, the head coach for this program is going to be AJ Parnell, and he's a guy that, again, I was not familiar with before the last, day or two, trying to dig in and do a little bit of research on this guy. This is a look at the head ball coach for the Cougars out there, most recently quarterback and running back coach at D2 Winona State. So he's up in the NSIC. He's up playing against these teams, in Minnesota and otherwise, and he spent 7 years on staff at D3 Bethel University that we're, of course, familiar with. Now, that's big for a couple reasons. One, he was a 4-year quarterback for the Royals at Bethel, has the D3 experience. Another guy, we talked about Coach Freitag earlier, another D3 product coming back into the coaching mix and making big waves with the school that needs to see some results. And it might not be short-term. Neither of these jobs are going to be short-term, quick turnarounds, but you got to build a foundation and build something that can last. The big piece about Bethel, though, of course, is that APU, Azusa Pacific, they're also a Christian school. So I have to imagine that his long tenure and experience at Bethel was something that was really appealing to the athletic director and the hiring committee, the search committee there at APU. I have to imagine that's a really big piece of why they bring a guy in like that. When you talk about a private religious institution where you got a coach that comes in with a strong background and presumably beliefs that really align with the university and kind of their mission statement.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess maybe the hard situation about this a little bit is he was at Bethel for 7 years. I bet he felt like he was going to be the head coach at Bethel at one point. And then they had a decision to make, right? I mean, you have two guys in that building, right? Coach Mack, who we big fan of ours, love him. He gets a head coach job. So he's like, you know what? I got to keep growing. I got to keep expanding because I want to be probably head coach one day. And that's obviously a goal of his. So he goes to Winona, right? I believe it was only for one season. And then, right, like you said, like it's a faith-based school for sure. He's a faith-based individual. That was clearly a big deal for him. So I hope that they do a good job of, like, from at least where my brain goes, I'm like, I hope they market the hell out of this team so that we can try to get some people to watch this program. I don't know at all what kind of style of football. Like I know, Coach Parnell does a great job on the offensive side of the ball. But like, let's get some people to these games and let's support Azusa Pacific. And I just hope they do a good job marketing that thing from an entire school standard, because when you start a new program that hasn't had ball in a while, like it's like, it can get quiet out there. So I just hope they do a good job of that.
Yeah, I mean, you've probably got a fragmented alumni base, right? That people that are probably excited, and the excitement is going to be there initially. How do you sustain? How do you keep people excited? How do you keep people around the program? This is a look at the SCIAC standings from 2025.
You win,
this is the win. Go ahead. Sorry, was that?
No, you got to win. That's it.
You do.
Like that's how you do it. And like,
in short, you're right. Yes.
Right. It's not. I don't know what else to tell you, but like, you got to fucking win.
They're joining the SCIAC in 2026 here. This is a look at the Sun and the Surf kind of divisions of this conference. You look at a Chapman, a team that had a really phenomenal regular season. And Seth, remind me, how did they close out 2025?
They got spanked. They did.
Yeah, it was
they
bad.
got spanked by the boys.
It was bad.
It was
not their weather. Total tough trip.
I know. I felt bad. Like,
gotta feel better knowing that River Falls went on to go win the whole damn thing, though. If you're the Chapman squad,
allegedly. And I don't know where I would have got this information from, but allegedly, they didn't practice outside. This could be totally wrong, but they didn't practice outside until like the game. Like, they didn't even go outside until the game.
No.
And so I'm like,
no,
they had no shot. Like, also, like, yes, we won that. Like, we won the whole thing, but they had no shot.
If that is true, that would be.
Alleged. Yeah,
that would be, if that is true, that is coaching malpractice.
But like, I have no idea. But either way, even if you practice in that thing for like you got one practice in it ain't gonna matter. So
no, I get it.
Plus you're into a buzzsaw. So
Chapman definitely dominated out there. You see some of the other teams. Pomona Pitzer is one that we've talked about. Sadie Chen's down there that have had some solid years. Last year, not really one of them. Chapman was the only team to have a really dominant record. You did have squads like Redlands who finished in the winning column, CMS and Pomona Pitzer both at 500, and then that Laverne team that really struggled. Now, of course, Whittier, them playing Whittier, when you talk about Azusa Pacific, that's going to be an interesting one because of the fact that Whittier is in almost the exact same shoes, like starting from just about nothing and trying to get this program, this thing rolling in the right direction. So them playing twice is awesome. Like, I love that those teams are in very similar phases of where their football program is at, whether it's a relaunch or an initial launch, and they get to play each other twice. Now, what's also cool, fellas, you'll see down here, the championship week pairings, and some of the criteria for the conference are kind of cool. So the championship week pairings are as follows. The top finisher of the Sun Conference plays the top finisher of the Surf, and then the 2 versus the 2 and the 3 versus the 3 all the way down. So obviously that top piece is the winner of that 1 seed of the Sun versus the Surf. And then you go down and there are just a little bit of like rankings there. So they take so they only have, again, currently as of 2025, they had 6 members of the SCIAC. So they all had this kind of criteria figured out for how they did the eventual standing. So it wasn't like there were a bunch of tiebreakers or anything. It was just like, this is how you finished. This is who you're playing. Depending on if you win or lose, this is where you slot. I love it. I think it's so easy.
You know what I'm doing, actually, if I'm Coach Parnell with that $1 million? I'm taking about $500,000 and I'm paying for a bunch of players. We're getting the Azusa Pacific collective rolling. I know we can't pay players directly at our level, but we're gonna get some serious NIL deals rocking and rolling. We're gonna get some good quarterback. We're gonna get some good O-linemen.
Where'd your southern accent just come from?
I don't know, but because that's where
I think they are in Southern Cali, but I mean, I don't know if that's how they speak down there.
This whole NIL thing started at SMU, and then now the only reason Texas Tech, right? Like, other than having great coaches, like freaking oil money down there, and that's where the Southern draw is starting to flow out a little bit. So I'm paying for a bunch of players, man. Like
Allegedly that money is going towards a lot of the coaches' salaries as well on the staff. And I've got no idea because they are a private institution. You know, it's a lot easier to find information on that from like some of the state schools and the public universities. But because they are private, it'd probably be a lot more difficult to figure out what exactly those salaries look like. Never know. Not really in the business of like FOIAing or trying to like get that information out of people. I'm good. But the money is supposed to go towards the coaches' salaries and, of course, a lot of equipment and getting the team ready to go. Now, it's been 6 years since they had a football program. It hasn't been 20. You got to imagine there's some level of infrastructure there in place for a football program. But in 6 years, I feel like a lot can change.
I'm going back to the money. Like, if that's true, like, I don't know how much money these guys are getting paid, but gosh dang, like I know some of the salaries that are in Division III, and if that's true, it's got to be one of the highest paying jobs in Division III. Then, but
depending on how they allocate it and split it up, right? Who knows?
Right. I think you could probably get there with 200,000, pretty much for everybody, including head coach, 2 coordinators. Typically, a typical staff, like you get your head coach, obviously, and then you get 2 on the defensive side of the ball and 2 on the offensive side of the ball. It's typical. Like you're feeling pretty good if you get that. Like I know at Bethel though, I'm pretty sure they only have 2 full-time assistants outside of the head coach. So it just depends, but I think they could probably get there with just 200,000 probably. But going back to what you're saying, as far as the infrastructure, like, yeah, if they've had football before, like, it's probably like kicking a team out of the football locker room that they've been using forever. So like you would assume, obviously they got a field, but that field obviously was probably not used for a lot of team sports.
I think there was some track and field maybe going on there or something. Now it sounds like too, APU is going to add 2 women's sports is what I read as well in their transition to Division III. So not sure what those are. I didn't really dive into that. So there's going to be a lot going on campus. This Millie though is straight for a gridiron. I don't think they're splitting that up. They're not Title IX in that thing.
Yeah, you're not putting that thing in the general fund. There's no way.
No, you got an anonymous donor that said this is going to football. What they're saying.
One donor. It wasn't raised collectively.
That's what it says. An anonymous donor.
Man, there's some money flowing out there in D3 right now.
They don't want to. They don't want us to know.
You got the DePaul situation that's an anonymous. Like, you got now this, and there's some other ones. I'll tell you what, if I get
that DePaul, that Moron Bell game, TBD on the location for that. You see that?
Lucas Oil Stadium, maybe. We got maybe South Bend, maybe. I mean, I'm just saying.
That'd be pretty sweet.
I'm just saying.
I saw that they haven't announced that yet, and they kind of like have teased that it's going to be at a pretty notable location. That feels like maybe a must stop in 2026.
I'm just saying, if I gave a place $1 million, that place is gonna get called Left Hash Call Field. That's all. Whatever we're gonna like. We're calling a bunch of stuff. We're naming a bunch of stuff. That's all I know.
You're gonna walk through the facility. You're gonna know exactly who I am.
You're gonna be like, "Is this Sizzle Media Howard Left Hash D1R Field?" Like you're gonna know.
Close it off, Jimmy. Tell me about the wide receiver from Stout here that's generated a little bit of pro buzz ahead of this draft cycle.
Let me tell you about Vaughn. He is one of those guys. If you see no safety help, you say, I don't care what the play was. I'm going to throw it to Vaughn right now. Like, he's one of those guys. He is an absolute game breaker. He's a QB's best friend. And this does not surprise me at all that the Bears and the Vikings went to go pay a visit to this young man. He still has a year of eligibility at Stout, too. That's the scary thing. And I'm pretty sure he's going to stick around based on my insider info. I have been in contact with a couple people at Stout, and it appears that he's going to stick around. Not 100% confirmed yet, but the sky's the limit for this kid. He has All-American written all over him. He's got Pro Day written all over him. I'd be absolutely shocked if this kid has not played past college. He's a specimen, I'll tell you that much. He's a nightmare for defenses, and I enjoyed throwing him the football. And I'm sure whoever's playing quarterback for Stout this year is also going to have a field day whenever Vaughn's on the field. So, oh, nice, very nice. You guys plan that?
I can see him separately, and I saw him put it on.
That's funny. You can't let me have one thing. I talk about Stout one time. I talk about Stout one freaking time, man. Oh, it's funny. I can't help but laugh at it. It's funny.
Hey,
dude.
shout out Vaughn.
Yeah, shout out Vaughn. You guys are gonna
I gotta
ruin the
pull.
clip
I gotta
for-
find the
was gonna make him
tape.
a
I need to
clip,
find
now
the tape.
I gotta cut the clip off early.
You're
No,
funny,
no.
man.
I mean, I love seeing guys get pro opportunities. But yeah, man, sad speak for itself.
Yeah. So he has one more year. You said
Yeah, he's got another
Okay,
year,
and
and
so
they're
he's-
still coming to check him out.
his plan is again allegedly to stay there.
I know a lot of teams. I think the Vikings came to visit a couple of guys. Like they came to visit Blaha the year before. I think they came to visit Gage Tim. I think that this is. I don't know what like the protocol is, but I feel like this is almost like it's like a junior day type of deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
I think
almost
that's
kind of
a
like a
fair.
junior
I
day.
think it's a fair assessment.
It's like you get to see the guy in person, like see if he can start to do. Like I wonder if did Tyren get anything? Montgomery, like was this a similar situation the year before, or like I'm curious, like what's the success rate so far? Like if a guy comes like to visit a D3, like is it a better likelihood that
question.
they're gonna get a mini camp? Like that would be my
What's
question.
the hit
like,
rate? Yeah.
like I think like Caleb, like for example, like I'm assuming he's probably gonna get a mini camp in fight. And I don't know about Gage either, but like I think there's a solid shot that like doing this is a good sign that you're probably gonna get at least a mini camp invite.
Yeah, you're gonna get a look, right? You're gonna get at least a nod. How about this grab? Start the comeback there in the Isthmus Bowl. Huh?
Oh yeah.
Like that. Like that. Like you said, go up and go over someone, man. A little swagger to him too. I like it.
How would you
bro,
compare
yeah.
him to Arthur Cox there, Jim?
I would
Oh.
say they're like the complete opposite players. I think they have like almost nothing in common other than like their competitive drive. Obviously, you know, Arthur was just like this shifty route running guru who could also have really, really good hands. You can throw him a reverse, you could throw him a ball over the middle, you can do whatever you want. Vaughn's a guy who can like really stretch the field. Like, we weren't going to send Arthur on too many go routes. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where like Vaughn's got one-on-one, the ball's going to Vaughn. Like you just got to chuck it up to him. And it also like obviously like you saw they're really good in the red zone. You know, like third and long as well. You know, this is a guy you can trust. You can go make a play for you.
Who's throwing the ball to him next year?
From what I know, it's
No more
between
Moen.
It's between Luke Sedin and Jacob Royce. Moen's done.
Yeah.
Right. Did they
Yeah,
play much
so-
last year?
Luke Sedin got in a little bit. He had some run packages. I know he's a really, really good athlete. I've had the pleasure to play a lot of golf with Luke Sedin. So, and then, you know, you got Jacob Royce, too, who's also a very suitable candidate. The kid's really mature, knows the playbook really well. He's always dotting his T's and crossing his I's. So,
What years are they in school?
dotting his I's, crossing his T's. They're both going to be seniors, I believe.
Okay.
And
Good.
I think Luke, they're the same age, but Luke gray shirted. So I think Luke has an extra year over Royce. So we'll see how that shapes up. I know I still talked to a couple of kids on my team. I'll have to actually find out how the spring ball is going for them. See who's going to be
Interesting.
taking over center. They might have gone after a transfer too. Who knows? Who knows?
They're better. They're in trouble.
Hey, all I know is I trust my guys, Luke and Jacob. They're good football players. They're good football players, man. So.
Sweet. All right, Seth, turn it around. Talk about River Falls. Made some staff, I guess, updates / announcements. Some existing faces getting elevated into higher roles, but also they've got a couple new faces, new pieces to this program, man. Starting the defensive side of the ball here with our guy, Coach Wood.
Love Coach Wood, man. I'm so pumped for him. You know, this was kind of like as soon as Wiss got the job as the head coach or the interim coach, of course, writing was kind of already on the wall with Coach Wood. He's been with Coach Wiss for I believe 7 years. I believe he's been there for 7 years. He was the defensive pass game coordinator and now the defensive coordinator for the Falcons. Like, he totally deserves this thing, man. I'm so pumped for him. He's going to do a fantastic job leading this group. I'm not necessarily sure if he's going to call it or not. Obviously, Coach Wiss was the defensive coordinator, but nonetheless, like, he has acted like a defensive coordinator. Like he has been groomed for this opportunity since he was originally on staff, and I'm totally pumped for Coach Wood. And also, you know, scrolling down here a little bit, Yeah, I was curious what they were going to do on the offensive side of the ball.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Coach Matson goes to Drake with Coach Walker. And so, like, there's a particular style of play that you want to play. In that, not that, like, you got to go be the fastest team in America and you got to do the exact same thing that Coach Matson was doing, but, like, you got to get a bunch of really good skill players. Like, that roster is still insane. Like, it's still a very, very, very good roster, even though you've had some guys jump in the portal and go to JMU and go to UMass. Shout out to Blake. So it's still a very good roster. And so I'm really interested to see, like, again, like, are we going to run the quarterback much? Like, I would probably say you're going to see more of a Platteville style offense. And Riley Bailey being that offensive coordinator and quarterback coach now at River Falls. He was the pass game coordinator and quarterback coach at UW-Platteville previously. And so, you know, probably a little bit more, I would say, like, air raid-ish concepts versus, you know, your RPOs and your quarterback runs and that good stuff. So you're probably going to see a lot more pass game run, like your traditional air raid that you would probably see versus like what you've seen in the past. But nonetheless, like, got to utilize those skill players, got to utilize the running backs, the quarterbacks that are still there. It's a roster that can still win and go back to back. I truly believe it. I think, like, they're going to have some work to do as far as
Back
like
to back what?
that say that again.
Back to back what? National champions?
Don't
You really
make
think they're
national
going to win
champ.
another one? You really think they're going to win another one this year?
What did I say, Jimmy? I didn't say they're going to win another one. I said they have a roster that can go back to back. I'm not saying they are, but they have a roster that can still do it. Now, it's up to them. It's up to the offseason program. It's up to these coaches to get them to a point that they can even win a WIAC championship again. But again, I'm always like, I don't care if the whole freaking team, I don't care if, I don't know anybody that's a Falcon anymore. Like, I'm going to still say they're going to win the whole thing. I'm not going to like say like that's like my pick for 2026 or whatever, but they can still compete, man.
Wissing, of course,
And they're
being
going to
the
whoop
rounding
Stout's
out
ass
the rounding out the staffs. Of
We'll
course,
see.
he gets the official interim head coaching title, which presumably will be promptly removed here, depending on what happens and what transpires in the near future. If we're gonna shout out our squads, let me be the one to shout out my guys over at Northern Michigan. What I want you guys to notice in this drone video that I may or may not have captured in the Superior Dome is that this is not the triple option. We got Coach Boom up here running the offense, calling the
Coach
shots.
Boom.
Coach Janis leading the thing. Coach Bright on the defensive side. A bunch of other great young staffers that are going to get this team going in the right direction. All I'm saying, no more triple option. We got shotgun football. We are back in 2026 and not 1986. I'm excited about it. I'm here for it. Good energy, and I get to actually talk about Northern football in the program again.
Hey,
me too.
I know this is D3 portion of the show, but let me tell you a little bit about Coach Boomer real quick. First of all, best human of all time. Like, you will not meet a better human than that guy. Like, he, again, better than all of us combined. Like, not even close. Like, he is such
Fair
a good
take.
human, such a good dude. And I'm so excited for him. Like, he's just looking for this is an opportunity, like, where he is going to shine. Especially he was just at CSP. Before that, he was at Northwestern. And man, like, he was a freaking, like, a head coach at Northwestern, even though he wasn't a head coach. Like, fantastic recruiter, like, developer of quarterbacks, receivers. Like, he is such a good person and good leader and a good coach. He's going to get that offense right. Definitely not going to be running triple option football. You're going to see some more probably going to see more passing yards at Northern Michigan than you've seen in the last 50 years, probably combined.
Whoa. 50-year anniversary this year of the 1975 national championship team with Steve Mariucci as the quarterback, pal.
Well, but what happened in 19?
But you said the last 50 years, not the last 51. Doesn't matter what happened in 1974.
Yeah, but did they win it in 76?
75.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, now it's
Oh,
20
okay.
1976,
Loophole.
So things been going bad since 1976, right? Hey, shout out Mooch.
Shout out Mooch, man. Got his number. Tried shooting him a text a little while back. Didn't get a response.
He did the old Moocheroonie deal.
And that's enough for this portion of the podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in.